My name is Jim, and I'm going to give you a little bit of instruction on what it takes to start your own TV show / podcast. Over the course of the pandemic, I took some time to refine some skills and found myself needing to want to create something positive and fun for the city to watch, as well as others across the United States. With YouTube, of course, that's really fun and easy to do. So I started a podcast in motion called Cross the Street. I can walk you through some of the pitfalls, some of the successes, and some of the highlights that the show has offered me over the last 1 year. Today being its birthday, we celebrate. It's taken 1 year to get to 1,000 subscribers plus, like 1,300 roughly at the moment right now, that we highlight our city here in Portland. We've interviewed photographers, videographers, artists, musical artists, business owners, chefs, cooks, award winners, movie makers, directors. We've made a great point to try and highlight as much of the city as possible, all while keeping the content fun, which hence the podcast in motion, which is Cross the Street. Some of the things that you can expect to run into when starting your own podcast. Scheduling is by far one of the hardest. The first few months I started this podcast, very few people took me seriously. Take full advantage of your friends. Practice on your friends. Don't shoot your big shot yet. So if you're in your city and you're looking to interview someone that you think is important, make sure you're good at what you do before you do it. I did that here in town. I shot my shot early with a few people that didn't go as great as I'd like them to, but some of the stuff I waited for, I got some excellent episodes. So these right here were the game changers, though. If I had to pick a item or element of the show that I couldn't do without, it's the sound. And you can do these podcasts in motion like I do by yourself with this equipment. Part of the show's success was the independence that I was able to conduct on my own. It didn't take a lot of other people other than the guest, which is often hard to, get everybody together. But once the show took form, took shape, people started to expect it. Really crafty intro that was put together by one of the former guests. He asked what the name of the show was. I said I'd like to call it Cross the Street. This is before the logo and anything. And Ted Loke, shout out to Ted Loke, he said you should have them say that while they walk across the street. And sure enough, that's what we did. And the intro is the most widely question I get, asked question that I get during the beginning of an interview is, when do I get to cross the street? And we do that at the end. So some of the movie magic kind of released there. But again, it's been 1 year in the making. It's been an absolute blast. I have the most fun doing it. It's about 8 months into it. Started to do some event coverage, and I noticed that I just didn't have a lot of time to grab the microphone and mic everybody up independently. So I needed someone else. I needed someone else for these group events. And Birdie took a special interest into the show immediately. As a fan, she came to a few recordings with me. And then before you know it, I just asked her, I was like, would you like to participate? And she did. So finding other people that are willing to work with you and help support what you're doing in this mission is critical. It's super critical. I didn't have enough hands. So Birdie Lee fit right into the, for the lack of a better word, the human sparkler, I call her, microphone stand. And she's blossomed since. So that equipment plus Birdie, plus the ability to cover events now and do quick interviews. We flash the microphones on. Her and I have a little hand signal that we use with each other to let them know when to shut those off, to save some of the battery life, which we've never had an issue with. We meet with you for 5 to 10 minutes before we start, and then we start. We just start the interview, and it's 15, 20 minutes afterwards. And the 15 or 20 minutes after the interviews are always my favorite. Some of those moments I will never share with anybody just because of how personal some of the conversations get. And a lot of that is never recorded, no sound, no audio. Those are just for me. So but hopefully you'll be able to pull away some of those moments and keep those with you to kind of keep you recharged. Multiple, downfalls to sitting in a parking lot waiting for people to show up that just are never going to come happen multiple times. If you want to start your own show, I think the best advice I can give you is just, you got to start. Shout out to Sean Cannell for the advice, just press record. Kind of changed my life. You just have to start. I don't have the cool stuff behind me. I'm just in a blank bedroom with, like I said, wireless mics and a Canon M50 at the moment pointed at me. And I hope it translates. I'm a little nervous doing this, but this is part of the growth of the show, I feel like. So Brian Kelsey, shout out to Brian Kelsey, also someone else that like gave me a lot of courage and motivation to start my own stuff. I saw that he was doing all that stuff himself. Looks like him and his friend built a TV set in his garage and then started to interview. He goes for like celebrities. He's like really, really good at what he does. But I started with local celebrities and we've kind of elevated ourselves. It is a podcast in motion, so it's really fun to highlight, various places that we're at, and not just keep that standard, one camera view that we are also used to at a podcast. Switch it up a little bit so you get like the camera 1, camera 2. No, we don't even do that. We keep the camera moving all the time. If a car drives by, I try to highlight the car even, because that's what we would do in natural life. We would turn our head if we heard something, so start, you have to start. So don't be afraid to start. I appreciate everybody that watches our show. We do want to make better content. We're going to try harder to make better content and bring some of the personality into it. I get asked a lot about the making of the show. People are always very curious about the process. How do you do it so quickly? I'm very new at this. I've only had a camera for a couple years. I have zero experience in film editing, I can't say zero experience in sound. I am a producer at heart, and I've been around the music industry. I shouldn't even say industry. I've been around my friends making music for a long time. They're eager to talk to you, believe it or not. I don't charge anything for the show. It's absolutely free. It's 100% community service. I don't mind supplying the time and energy to do it because generally people are very appreciative of the exposure that you can give them, even if it is only like 30, 40 people in the beginning of your channel, which was the case for mine. You get like 30 views a week. And then as the city caught on to what I was doing, though, man, the numbers sure went up to the point where I was able to reach the 4,000 hours a month of monthly watch time to get monetized, and blown away at what we've done so far. So, but again, if you want to start your own channel, you just got to start today. Find people to interview, lock down your scheduling. It can be very tough. Have a plan when you go into it. It doesn't have to be a great plan, but at least like in a 15-minute interview, 20-minute interview slot, I try to find about 5 bullet points going into it. So I saw that you went to Hawaii recently. You can kind of poke around on their social media and stuff. There's so many great ways to like just find 5 bullet points though that are just boom, 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 right to the point to get the interview rolling. And if you have a chatty guest, oh my gosh, you're so lucky if you have a chatty guest. They're the best. You can ask 2 questions. It's like 15 minutes run by as quick. You can even go to like 20 minutes on some of those interviews, and it's never, I don't edit anything, so it's always great to get the extra, like chatting or whatever. But one of the hardest things you can do is when you get the guests that you have 5 questions prepared for, and they blast right through them in like 3 minutes, and then you're just winging it. You're out there on a rope, hoping that what you say next will not embarrass you for the rest of your life. But that does happen from time to time. If anyone else is interested in any of this information that I'm talking about, like booking, I feel like I should do a segment on booking altogether. I think booking is hard, and I can give you examples of how booking is hard, how it's heartbreaking, and how at the end of the day, most people just truly want to participate, but again, they don't think they know how serious you are. And when you prove yourself with the work, that's what I've done. I'm not great at anything. I'm not fantastic in any of this stuff, but I've definitely not given up. It's 1 year today. So today, 1 year. Also, as part of running a community service show, we do like to ask for help. We spend a lot of money here across the street in the local community. We buy swag. We never accept gifts. Very rarely do we accept gifts. They're usually forced upon us when they're given to us. We like to pay our own way. We like to support through not only the platform that we're providing, but we also like to support financially, because we know that that's what keeps these families and these small businesses alive, is the exposure plus the ability for us to go out and actually spend the money with them. So we do bring everybody a gift on the show. That's something that you can apply into your show. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be much, maybe like a bottle of water or whatever. In the beginning of my show, I kept the gift at around $5 to $10 a piece. Got some t-shirts made not too long ago that we give some of the guests if they're kind of like t-shirt people. A lot of thoughtful gifts. There's a lot of small things that you could do with your show to make a big impact on the guests. They remember that stuff. So also, working for free in your community. I say this a lot. Don't be afraid of that. Don't charge people for this stuff. You can if you want. I mean, do whatever you want to do, but I don't charge people for stuff because I feel like the 5 to 6 hours, sometimes 8 to 10 hour days I put in putting the show together, researching the people, setting up the sound equipment, going and driving to them, bringing them a gift, buying lunch for myself, for Birdie, or for whoever it may be. Again, the working for free, though, the things that we do on the show that we do for free come back tenfold in our community. So what we don't do for money, we do for hand claps and daps. And we have received plenty of hand claps and daps due to our efforts. And that's worth more than, $50 an episode or whatever monetary value I could probably put on an episode, rather not. And we've developed some relationships with our city that are second to none. Hopefully we haven't, done anybody wrong, but it is journalism. I don't do investigative journalism. I'm not going to vlad you or make you look stupid or incriminate you. But if there's a story to be told and you want to talk about it, I will definitely give you that opportunity, as you should with all of your guests as well. Give them a chance to tell their story. We had a couple spicy episodes during our early adventures. There was a couple people around town that had a small rap beef. Only it was just rap, and I covered both sides of it. I gave both gentlemen a chance to speak their piece. They did, and we moved on. I don't write the letters. I just deliver the packages. That's kind of how I like to explain the media sometimes. Celebrating our 1-year birthday today, as well as giving you a few tips on how to start your own podcast. Just do it. Just start. Just press play. Shouts to Sean Cannell again. Just press play. Just press record. I think that's what it is. Just press record. Sounds super easy, but it's like the best thing that I ever did was just start. So if you have questions about starting your own podcast, please feel free to, leave some questions or comments down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you have questions about sound, or I can give you a little bit of tips and advice on that, but I am not a professional at anything. The only thing I am good at is working. So stay focused. I stayed motivated, and 1 year later, we're monetized on YouTube, 1,300 plus followers. We're meeting the requirements for the watch hours. So now it's all about just continuing what I'm doing and hoping to get better and getting inspired by the YouTube community. You guys are awesome. So many wildly good creators out there that I don't know how you guys get so comfortable with some of this stuff. So hopefully this looks good. If not, I apologize, but my eyes kind of drift away every now and then to look at that camera. So I'm trying to keep it like right here. But again, start today. Don't stop. Once you start, just keep going. It gets easier. And cheers from us all here across the street. Cheers.